Hi movie fans, welcome back subscribers, and hello to first-time viewers. In this recap, we will be reviewing Immortal from 2004, based on the French comic books La Foire aux Immortels and La Femme Piège. Check it out and see what happens when Earth is occupied by ancient gods and genetically altered humans. Leave a comment and we will randomly pick one to give a shout out on a future video. Let's do this! It's the year 2095. Genetically altered humans live side by side with aliens and other beings, with the former lording over the latter and treating them as second-class citizens. Jill has been abducted and held with a group of aliens that are ready to be shipped out. She tries to break free and shoots a blast from her hand, but is soon subdued and gagged for a short trip to Eugenics HQ in New York. There is a mysterious pyramid hanging over Central Park, where the god Horus from Hyrcanopolis has been sentenced to death by a group of his peers. He is granted the ability to visit the Earth that he helped create for 7 days, equivalent to one divine heartbeat, then he will be stripped of his immortality. He moves through the walls of the pyramid and is spotted by 2 helicopters. He uses his godlike powers to make them crash into one another. He says into the void, "My children, I am back," then dives from the pyramid and morphs into a hawk. In the Eugenics HQ building, technicians are taking a sample of Jill's tears for analysis. Elma Turner is given permission to take one of the subjects for her own medical research. She is interested in Jill and is told to be careful as she is dangerous. She can take Jill, but she must share all the findings with Eugenics and not to pretend she lost the file on her. They leave the enormous Eugenics building and see a young boy waiting outside wanting to be reunited with his mother, but the guard just shoots his graffiti drone. Getting into her hover car, Elma asks Jill her age, but she does not reply even though her gag has been removed. They soon ascend into the sky. An interview on a public TV broadcast is asking whether Senator Allgood organized the pyramid over the city, but the interviewee says that he does not have that much juice. She then says the pyramid is extraterrestrial in nature, as is the intrusion zone in Central Park, and she doesn't believe that intrusion is a matrix of dangerous mutants like Allgood does. She continues to say that the intrusion is a gateway to parallel or extraterrestrial worlds, and that needs to be accepted. She goes on to blame Allgood for a medical dictatorship that has been imposed on the city with the active participation of the Eugenics Company, how people are going missing and experiments are illegally conducted on the citizens. She then tells the interviewer about the Globus 1 cryo prison being used illegally by eugenics scientists. The interviewer brings up some recent murders on level 2. The woman says that's police business and she has full confidence in them. Senator Allgood is watching the broadcast and has an outburst repeatedly calling the woman a bitch. Allgood asks Jonas, who is investigating the 4 murders, and is told that Inspector Frabe is, and that he suspects they have a serial killer. Lily Liang interrupts to say that Frabe is a psychopath and a liability since he got his face chewed on by a Dayak. Jonas says that Frabe is politically neutral, but Allgood counters that nobody is neutral and the whole universe is split in 2. There has been another murder, which makes 5 in less than 48 hours. Frabe arrives at the crime scene and is told that the victim literally exploded from the inside like the others. Frabe inspects the body while a Queasy agent takes the only witness to Frabe's office in his cable hover car, but soon loses control and ditches it onto the roof of a building. The car door opens and a blood-drenched witness steps out over the exploded body of the once Queasy driver. He staggers in a daze to the nearest bar and asks the bartender if his organs are diseased. The confused bartender tells him he has new Chinese lungs and a new bladder and that everything is working fine, then asks him if he wants a drink. The man just turns around and walks outside, where his head suddenly blows off his shoulders. At Frabe's office, Sandy asks Frabe whether this could be the Dayak, but he tells him that all the Dayak were killed after the riots 30 years ago. Sandy says except for the one that got you. In the pyramid that's hovering over the city, Anubis and Bastet are trying to work out the rules for Monopoly, of all things. The hourglasses run down the remaining time that Horus has immortality. At Elma Turner's surgical practice, she quickly finishes up with one of her clients and then goes back to speak with Jill, who is having issues with her memory. Elma thinks she has had something traumatic happen to her that's blocking her memory. Jill tells her that it is not just partial memories that are blocked, but she cannot remember anything. Elma tells her that she remembered to take her black market drugs though. She then says in 20 years of medicine she's never seen anybody like her. Her organs are different from humans, and it seems as if she was born only 3 months ago. Elma asks Jill to work with her to test some medication and fits her with a data collection device. She says that she can make her legal and get her papers, and she will get her a room in the Western Hysteria Hotel, saying she is the greatest mystery she has ever come across. Jill takes a taxi to level 3, where a warning says, "Do not enter level 3, danger to humans." She sees a man called John standing on the gantry and runs to him and hugs him, telling him she got picked up in a eugenics raid. She tells him that Elma saved her life and offered her a job and legal housing, which John says for her to accept. He says that the planet is killing him and the oxygen is burning him up. He adds that he has been around for centuries and is getting old. At the Globus Sky Prison, there is a mechanical failure and some pods break loose and fall to the planet's surface, busting open on contact. NYPD arrive on the scene and see that all the pods but one have humans in them. A eugenics ship arrives and the NYPD officers tell them to stay back, but they pull their guns and kill the police officers in cold blood. They retrieve the frozen bodies to the eugenics ship and throw the police officers from the bridge and make their escape. In their haste to leave, they miss a body part that was left behind. Later, Frabe is at the scene being watched by Horus the Hawk God as he is given the body part. A car arrives with Allgood and Lily Leong. Allgood can't believe they have a pyramid hovering over the city, a serial killer on the loose, and now parts of the Globus prison are falling off. I guess he never heard that bad things come in threes. Allgood asks what Frabe is doing there, and is told that 3 of his men have gone missing, and is then given the body part, which Lily gladly takes away. Laying on a platform under the bridge, the body of prisoner Nikopol is thawing out and starting to regain consciousness. The Hawk sits above the body for a while and then magically enters it and starts to float off into the city and down into the abandoned subway system where Horus exits the body. Nikopol recognizes Horus. Horus is flattered to be recognized but gets pissy when Nikopol mentions Anubis. Horus tells him that he needs a body, not any old body, but a body that'll accept him. He has tried 7 unsuitable ones already. Horus says that his body should be suitable because he has been in cryostasis for 30 years and has had no modifications. Nikopol tells him he was due to be released next year, joking that he has gained a year but lost a leg. Lily Leong received a message from Globus telling her that the leg belonged to the infamous Nikopol. Allgood chokes on his food upon receiving the news. Horus fashions a leg from track iron with his freaking laser eyes, but Nikopol protests that it is too heavy to move. Once Horus enters his body again and co-pilots him, he is able to walk with the new leg. Horus likes that Nikopol is a troublemaker and caused the riots over body augmentation 30 years ago and shows him a digital graffito signed off in the spirit of Nikopol. Jill arrives at the Western Hysteria Hotel and is given a room on the 39th floor. She checks out her room and despite being a bit run down, it has an amazing bathtub. I love that thing. It also has a wicked living bathroom tool called Willy Katarakato Willy. Jill completes a barrage of medical tests in her room and fills out some forms before being asked to eat some nasty looking food. She watches some television that tells her about the murders and that Senator Allgood and some Egyptologists will be on a Zeppelin when they, again, try to make contact with the beings in the pyramid if there are any. Then there is a report about the intrusion zone in Central Park, which is 23 degrees below zero and 12 attempts have been made to enter the zone, but all failed in death. Nikopol decides to steal some new threads and is chased from the store by an armed security guard who manages to shoot him twice. Nikopol just brushes it off though. He then jumps trying to escape. Losing his grip, he falls, but luckily just before he is about to die of deceleration trauma, he sprouts wings. The pyramid gods are now playing cards to pass the time while outside a spirit of Nikopol graffito says, "Welcome to the big transgenic apple." Senator Allgood gets news from Jonas that Nikopol was shot and fell, but no body was recovered. Allgood is mad that Nikopol knows too much about his father's financial dealings and illegal experimentation on alien populations. He says that Nikopol should never have gotten out of Globus, but had they assassinated him instead of prison, it would have made him a martyr. They visit Dr. Jack Turniff to activate the Hunter, a weird bipedal shark-like creature, to find Nikopol as a last resort before they contact Allgood's protege. Nikopol sits in a bar talking to Horus. He says that he is looking for a blue-haired girl with white skin. He asks what is so special about her, and Horus tells him she is not a mere human. Jill visits Elma, who removes the data collection device. Jill asks why is she helping her and says that she senses that Elma is attracted to her, which Elma does not deny. Elma thinks she is able to read minds and decides to test her skills. Jill is able to read her mind and says that she completed all the food tasks she was set. Afterward, Jill is going to the bar where Nicopol and Horace are chilling. Nicopol notices her and Horace tells him that she is the one. She walks into a room at the back of the bar where she puts on a spacesuit and calls out to John. She then floats up to him. He says, "You'll be my last and most beautiful intrusion," and says for the last 4,000 years he has been introducing people to all corners of the galaxy. He explains that she is a lost person and the pills she takes stop her past from bleeding through, and how she's about to go through metamorphosis so she can stay on this planet. He says that he will not be staying after the end of the cycle and is already dreaming of the void. Jill sits for a drink at the bar when the couple approaches. She is not interested in him until Horace makes himself known and says, "You will need somebody to take you home." They leave the bar but do not notice that Inspector John Huxley is following them. Horace uses his power to acquire a sweet ride and takes Jill to the hotel. When Huxley gets in his car, he's shocked to see the hunter and even more shocked when it crudely removes the black box from his brain, almost killing him in the process. The hunter watches the recording of Jill and Nicopol from the bar. When they arrive at the hotel, they go to her room and Horace practically rapes her with Nicopol's body and then disappears in the morning. Her hair has changed somewhat and she finds a feather in her bed but is soon answering a knock on her door. A man is there from Control and he wants to see her papers and starts asking her questions about whether she is armed or has explosives. He notices the room has no bathroom and then leaves. She wonders where the bathroom is and sees a picture of a pyramid with a hawk that disappears, revealing the bathroom door. She opens it and finds Nicopol in the tub. She doesn't remember who he is and Willie Willie hands her a gun. Nicopol tries to explain but she has no memories and fires the weapon from her hand. He says that they had sex together and then involuntarily freezes until she leaves the hotel room. Frabe is with Huxley's body and is trying to piece together what happened to him by digging into his subconscious. It reads out on the screen that he was attacked by a Dyak. Frabe says that it was a fake Dyak. Some of its synthetic skin was found under Huxley's fingernails and the skin was signed Eugenics Co. In the hotel room, Nicopol is angry with Horace, saying that he made him rape Jill and he's annoyed that he just takes what he wants, such as his and her bodies. Then saying that he refuses to be part of it anymore, but Horace says that he has no choice in the matter and demonstrates his power over him and says that they need to bone her again. Jill recounts the experience to Elma, who says that Jill's organs are repositioning themselves more like a human now. Jill shows her the pills she has been taking. Elma says, "Thank you for trusting me." Jill says, "I don't, I only trust John." Allgood and Lily Liang are at Eugenics looking at the video of Jill and Nicopol. Dr. Turner gives some of Jill's tears to the Dyak so that it can track her down with its keen senses. Meanwhile, Jill visits the Human Museum, where she looks at the exhibits and compares the human anatomy to her own. Afterward, she is walking around the city and is snatched by a eugenics ship. She kills one of the kidnappers with her hand weapon but is soon gagged and immobilized. Then the Dyak removes her gag and starts questioning her, asking where Nicopol is. She manages to get a shot off that blasts into the Dyak's head but is soon gagged again. Horace finds them and flies into the ship and kills one of the kidnappers, then lasers a hole through the Dyak and the pilot of the ship, which then starts diving out of control. Horace is able to cut a way out of the ship before it crashes. Nicopol is starting his book in the hotel room when Horace flies in with Jill and seals her in the bathroom, saying that they must protect her and impregnate her. Nicopol now gets what he is up to. Sometime later, he is laying on the bed and Jill emerges from the bathroom with missing memories. She asks why he was in prison and he tells her he was trying to protect people like her. She answers, "Nobody is like me." They get a bottle of wine and start enjoying each other's company and start fooling around until Horace takes over and finishes the act. Anubis and Bastet poke their heads out from the pyramid and notice that something has changed. Jill travels to the Central Park intrusion zone and watches some people get zapped as they try to break in and their bones come flying out. John appears and tells her it is too dangerous to cross over now, but says maybe she'll be ready tomorrow. He says that the intrusion is a gateway that will disappear behind him and that she will be the last person to use it. She tells him that she has met somebody and he said that is good, you are becoming more human. In the hotel room, the couple is angry with Horace because Jill is missing. He starts swearing at Horace, who seems unconcerned other than his time is running out to impregnate her. Elma goes to the bar looking for Jill but runs into John instead, who she knows by name. She insists on seeing Jill, but John says she doesn't have to worry and things are happening on a different level now. Before she can leave, Inspector Foire grabs her and says that he is interested in what she knows. Allgood and Lily go to see a real Dayak, the one which attacked Foire and is now being held in a container. They feed it Nicopol's severed leg and tell it to go find the rest of him. Jill's sitting in a bath of her tears when Nicopol comes to talk with her. They are soon in bed making love again. After the act, John can be seen floating on his chair in space, and then Horace leaves Nicopol's body and thanks him. Horace tells him that women like Jill are very rare and they occasionally appear and are somehow able to bear children to the gods. Allgood says he is not going to go and that he is sending Jonas in the Zeppelin instead, and works out that Lily has been manipulating him the whole time. She tells him he has to go, telling him to get dressed and sort his shit out. Back in the hotel room, Horace has left and the Dayak starts oozing its way into the bathtub through the plug hole. Heroic Willie Katorikato Willie shoots at it, which alerts Jill and Nicopol. Fortunately, John drives through the window and helps them escape the room and certain death. Shortly after Foire and Elma arrive on the scene with the police and find part of the Dayak, they then go in pursuit after them. Some police join in the pursuit but crash out and eventually John's car goes off the track and flies into the intrusion zone. Allgood's Zeppelin arrives at the pyramid. As the final sands run through the hourglass, Allgood is sucked into the pyramid and then disappears in a flash. Inside the intrusion, John, Jill, and Nicopol make their way to the center where John gives her a red pill, which is the final piece of her treatment, which will make her human for good. She takes the pill and John disappears, leaving his empty clothes and a sad Jill behind. At that moment the Dayak appears and Nicopol begs Horace to come back, which he does, and laser eyes the beast. The pyramid appears above them and Allgood falls from the sky and lands on his Dayak. Horace thanks Nicopol and tells him that his leg will not be a burden to him and wishes him a good life. He then tells Jill that he will never be far from her and then flies up to the pyramid. Jill then looks at Nicopol and says,
"Do I know you?"
Horace flies into the pyramid and tells Bastet and Anubis that he is ready for his sentence to be carried out. The pyramid disappears just as Nicopol is being taken back into custody to serve the final year of his sentence. He calls out to Jill, but she does not hear him. 1 year later, Lily Liang is in charge of the city and the Central Park intrusion is being opened to the public. Elma is talking with Nicopol, saying she enjoyed his book. He asks her about Jill, and she replies, "Do you like Paris?" Nicopol arrives at the Eiffel Tower and sees Jill on the observation deck with a blue-scalped child and a pet blue hawk. She introduces herself and Nicopol sits with her. And that is all she frickin' wrote. Peace out.